I took the blame from my younger brother and spent 5 years in prison. While inside, I unexpectedly saved the son of the richest man in the city. As a token of gratitude, the man gave me 100 million. The moment I got out, the first thing I did was call my dad, ready to share the good news. But the second he heard my voice, he hung up immediately. I thought something had happened at home, so I rushed back as fast as I could. I'd barely reached the front door when I heard my sister-in-law complaining. Couldn't he have come out early or late? He just had to get out of prison today of all days. Now I have to rush to handle the property transfer without even getting my prenatal checkup done. Mom chimed in. This is all for your own good, you know. After all, you're the one who paid for this house. She's been to prison. She definitely won't find a job easily. What if she just stays here leeching off us and refuses to leave? My sister-in-law scoffed coldly. When she shows up, tell her to go rent a place somewhere. I am not living with an ex-con. Hearing their conversation, my hand, the one I'd been about to knock the door with, started trembling uncontrollably. My heart, which had been aching to see my family, instantly plummeted to rock bottom. It was the middle of June, but I felt like I'd been thrown into an ice cellar. This door right in front of me, it was the door I'd dreamed about day and night for 5 long years in that cell. But now, standing before it, I felt like I was standing at the edge of a cliff. I stood there, frozen, unable to move. My parents had always favored my younger brother, but my brother and I were close since we were kids. I went to prison to take the fall for him. There was no way he'd want to kick me out of my own home, right? Thinking that, I finally knocked. Mom opened the door and put on an exaggerated look of surprise. Zhou, you're back already? Your dad just said he was going to pick you up. She looked me up and down and squeezed out a pained expression. These past few years must have been so hard on you. You've gotten so thin. If I hadn't heard their conversation at the door just now, if only that concern had been genuine, how wonderful that would have been. With a bitter smile, I said, It's fine. Cabs are convenient these days. And I stepped inside. My sister-in-law immediately came over and started spraying me with alcohol, practically dumping the entire bottle on me. Don't overthink it. I'm just clearing away the bad luck. She told me not to overthink it, but her face was filled with undisguised disgust. She saw me as nothing but a convict, but she seemed to have forgotten. I went to prison for her and my brother. I didn't say a word. I just headed toward my old room. Don't bother looking, there's no room for you here. I'd barely taken 2 steps when my dad spoke up. He was sitting on the couch smoking, the ashtray overflowing with fresh cigarette butts. My arrival seemed to fill him with deep frustration. I stopped and looked at him. Dad, I only went to prison for 5 years. It's not like I died. I don't even deserve a room in my own home anymore. My dad crushed his cigarette, his anger barely contained. There are too many people in this house and not enough rooms. Where would you even stay? I didn't argue with him about it. Instead, I asked, what about Lu Hao? Does he feel the same way? Right then, my brother Lu Hao came out of the bathroom, looking somewhat awkward. Bro, Lingling is 2 months pregnant. If you stay here, there really isn't enough space. But don't worry, you're my blood brother, so of course you come first. If you really need to stay, I'll clear out the nursery we prepared for the baby and give you that room. At least my brother was being straightforward. I nodded. Sure, the baby won't be here for another 8 months anyway. I'll just stay for a while. The moment I said that, my brother's expression stiffened. He opened his mouth, then hesitated. My sister-in-law couldn't take it anymore. She charged at me screaming, How can you be so selfish? Can't you see there's no room here? You actually have the nerve to take our baby's nursery? The audacity! I was so angry I actually laughed. I looked at her. We all used to fit here just fine. I went to prison for one stretch and the baby isn't even born yet. And suddenly there's no room. Also, did you forget? I bought this house. Paid in full. My dad slammed the table and stood up. Zhou, what kind of attitude is that? You think buying a house makes you something special? First day out of prison and you're already coming after us for the house? I was beyond disappointed. I'm the one asking you for the house back? You're the ones who won't even give me a single room to sleep in. I told you from the start, there's no room for you here. If you need a place to live, go rent one yourself. We don't owe you anything. My dad was fuming, and he made it crystal clear I was to get out. We don't owe you anything. What a joke. Who was the one crying, begging me to take the blame for my brother? Who was it that said if I took the fall, I'd be the greatest benefactor of this family, and they'd spend the rest of their lives repaying me? And now I just wanted to stay in one room. One room that was originally mine to begin with. Was that really so much to ask? Is this what you call repayment? I spoke every word deliberately, every emotion churning violently in my chest. Back then, my brother and his wife were driving my car. They were speeding and hit and killed someone. My parents came to me immediately. They said they'd worked so hard to put my brother through a top university that his future was bright and that his life couldn't be ruined over a car accident. And me? I was just an ordinary employee at a small company. My future was nowhere near as promising as his. So they begged me, with tears streaming down their faces, to take the blame for my brother. They promised that when I got out, the whole family would repay me properly. I didn't do it for any reward. I did it because I loved my parents and genuinely cared for my brother. I destroyed my own life to save his. I sold my car, drained my savings, lost my job, all to pay the compensation and take the blame. I endured 5 years of suffering behind bars. The insults, the torment, I took it all. But never in my wildest nightmares did I imagine that what awaited me wasn't the warmth of family, but complete and utter betrayal. The cold reality. This so-called family of mine, wherever I went, people pointed and whispered, "If you really move in here, who knows how people will mock us? Why can't you think about us for once?" My brother, the very brother I sacrificed everything to protect, finally showed his true colors. In his eyes, I was nothing but a burden, the source of all their shame. The last shred of hope in my heart died right then and there. This house had zero warmth left in it. I looked at my younger brother, who now stood taller than me, and spoke coldly. "Lu Hao, don't you forget. The one who should have been the convict is you. The one who brought shame to this family is you. If you really cared so much about the big picture, you should have turned yourself in back then, instead of enjoying my sacrifice, living in my house, and having the audacity to blame me for not considering your feelings." My brother's face turned incredibly ugly. He snapped back, annoyed. "I already thanked you for taking the blame. What more do you want? As my older brother, isn't that what you're supposed to do? Why do you keep bringing up the same thing over and over?" He said it so casually, as if 5 years of my life in prison was the same as me giving him the bigger piece of chicken when we were kids. A simple "thank you" was supposed to square us away. And of course, my dad backed him up as always. The eldest brother is like a father. You do one thing for your brother and you want a medal? Why are you so petty? My sister-in-law joined in, rubbing her belly. Exactly. You're a good-for-nothing ex-con. Moving in here is just so you can leech off us, isn't it? If you stay here freeloading, what's going to happen when my baby is born? Even my mom looked at me with a heavy expression and spoke in that patronizing tone. Zhou, your father and I are waiting to hold our grandchild. You're not young anymore. Even if you go out and rent a place on your own, that's only the right thing to do. Every word from every mouth was like a sharp knife stabbing into my heart. I was disappointed beyond words, but my eyes still stung with tears I couldn't control. I looked at them and spoke, my voice raw and hoarse. No wonder none of you visited me even once in the 5 years I was locked up. I kept making excuses for you, telling myself you were just too busy. But the truth is, you were just ashamed of me. I tilted my head back, forcing the tears to stay where they were. Then I asked, word by word, my voice shaking, "Let me ask you one thing. Are you dead set on kicking me out today?" My mom didn't hesitate for even a second. My mom, my brother, my sister-in-law, every single one of them had a resolute look on their face. On this matter, there was clearly no room for negotiation, and in their eyes, I couldn't see a single trace of love or affection. I nodded. Fine. If that's how it is, then starting today, I'm cutting all ties with you. And I hope you don't regret it. This family wasn't worth another ounce of my attachment. That 100 million I'd been planning to share with them, it had nothing to do with them anymore. I walked out the door without looking back. Behind me came the sound of my sister-in-law's venomous scream. "What are you pretending for? Us cutting ties with a worthless ex-con like you. What's there to regret?" After leaving that heartless house, I wandered the streets alone for a long time. Eventually, I found a hotel and checked in for the night. I went online and paid a premium to consult a lawyer. The house I bought in full, it was registered under my parents' names. Could I get it back? The lawyer said yes. As long as I could prove I was the actual buyer, I could reclaim the property. I'd always been someone who kept records. All the original purchase documents were still in my possession. So I hired that lawyer on the spot, with one clear goal: take back what was mine. I gave him full authority to handle the case. After sorting everything out, I lay back on the bed and fell into a deep sleep. The next morning, I headed straight to the Villa District sales office. They were running a promotion. Buy more, get bigger discounts. Without hesitating, I bought 10 fully furnished villas in one go, paying in full. I quickly set up furniture and appliances, moved into one of them myself, and even hired a housekeeper to cook and clean for me every day. As for the other 9 villas, I put them up for rent. I'd always dreamed of being a landlord. Who would have thought that going to prison would make that dream come true? Now, just the rental income from those 9 villas alone gave me more money than I could spend every month. Life was sweet. 1 month later, I got a call from my dad. "Zhou, have you lost your mind? You're actually suing us?" I replied calmly. "I'm suing the people who are occupying my house." "You're really something, Zhou. True son of your old man. So many tricks up your sleeve and such a black heart. You just had to drag this family matter into the public eye, didn't you?" Through the phone, I could practically see his face turning purple with rage. "Well, you're the ones who taught me so well," I shot back sarcastically. Right after, my mom grabbed the phone and started screaming. Zhou, so what if you get the house back? Don't forget, your brother is working at a major company now, earning over 10,000 a month. And you're nothing but an ex-con who can't even find a job. You have no income. You can barely survive. Sooner or later, you'll come crawling back to your brother. Are you sure you want to burn bridges over a house? I want this house back not because I need it, but because I don't want a bunch of ungrateful vultures living in it. I ignored their furious yelling on the other end, said my piece, and hung up. I'd barely put my phone away when someone knocked on my door. I opened it to find a stunningly beautiful woman standing outside. Hi, landlord. I'm the tenant of Villa number 2. My name is Zhou Wanwan. I recognized her. She was the first person to rent one of my villas. The transaction had been smooth. She'd fallen in love with the place and signed the contract on the spot. I looked at her, confused. Is something wrong? She tucked her hair behind her ear, looking a little shy. So, here's the thing. I'm hosting a class reunion at my place right now. My old classmates all heard that a mysterious mega landlord bought 10 villas in one go, paying in full. They all want to meet you. So I came to ask, would you do me the honor of dropping by? As she spoke, Zhou Wanwan's eyes were full of anticipation, her cheeks slightly flushed. Since we weren't close, my first instinct was to decline. But looking into those pleading puppy dog eyes, I couldn't bring myself to say no. Seeing me hesitate, Zhou Wanwan clasped her hands together and begged, Please, landlord, I already bragged to my classmates about how well we know each other. I told them I'd definitely bring you over to blow their minds. Please help me out. Don't let me embarrass myself in front of everyone, okay? I have one fatal weakness. I can't say no when people sincerely ask for help. All right, I'll head over in a bit. When I finally agreed, Zhou Wanwan beamed. That's wonderful. I'll be waiting for you at the villa. After she left, I changed out of my pajamas, put on a proper suit, and went to knock on her door. What I never expected was that the person who opened the door was my sister-in-law, and my brother was right beside her. Zhou, you followed us here? My sister-in-law's face twisted with disgust the moment she saw me. You two know each other? Zhou Wanwan walked over, looking confused. Wanwan, this is the guy I was just complaining about. My husband's ex-con brother. He's old enough to know better, but he still tried to freeload in our baby's nursery. Absolutely shameless. Hearing that, the other guests at the party gathered around, eyeing me with complicated expressions. My sister-in-law only got bolder, looking down at me with contempt. Get out. This is a wealthy villa district, not somewhere a broke ex-con like you belongs. Her voice was loud, her tone arrogant, as if she were the mistress of this villa. And I was a rat that had wandered in uninvited. The other guests joined in, firing insults without mercy. Forget about freeloading, you ex-con. These villas were bought by a mysterious mega landlord. Don't even think about causing trouble here. That's right, that mega landlord is on his way. If you offend him, you won't even know how you died. Egged on by my sister-in-law, the crowd unleashed their malice toward me without holding back. I didn't even know these people. But honestly, I didn't feel much of anything. Ever since I'd gotten money, my confidence had grown enormously. A few petty words couldn't scratch me anymore. I looked at my sister-in-law and smiled. First, I have zero interest in following you anywhere. Seeing you is the last thing I want. Second, I'll say this one last time. The only reason I became an ex-con is because I took the fall for your husband. Remember that. Third, you're the one who despises me as an ex-con, yet you're living in my house and refusing to leave. So tell me, who's the shameless one here? My words were razor sharp, and the crowd fell silent. The way they looked at my sister-in-law became very interesting indeed. Feeling the weight of everyone's stares, my sister-in-law frowned, suddenly nervous. Stop spouting nonsense. That house belongs to Ahau. What does it have to do with you? I let out a cold laugh. The lawyer's letter has already been sent to the house. Let's see if you're still this bold-mouthed in court. My brother, who'd been silent the whole time, panicked. Zhou, we're all family. Do you really have to make things this ugly? He said family, but he couldn't even bring himself to call me brother anymore. I looked at him coldly. When you kicked me out of my house, why didn't you say we were family? When your wife was publicly humiliating and slandering me just now, why didn't you say we were family? Now that I'm threatening your interests, suddenly you remember we're family? When you can get something from me, we're family. When you can't, I'm just an ex-con. Isn't that right? The more I spoke, the colder my heart grew. I couldn't wrap my head around it. The little kid who used to follow me around, calling me brother. How did he become this? Don't flatter yourself, my sister-in-law said, lifting her chin again. A lowly ex-con with no money and no job? What could we possibly get from you? We'd just be happy if you stopped leeching off us. Is there some kind of misunderstanding here? Zhou Wanwan, who'd been lost this whole time, finally spoke up. Even though she didn't know me well, she at least knew one thing. I was the billionaire who'd bought 10 villas. That identity didn't match the freeloading ex-con my sister-in-law was describing. There's no misunderstanding. Wan, don't be fooled by this ex-con's innocent act. He's a disgusting parasite. Call the police and have him thrown out before he latches onto you. My sister-in-law glared at me with a vicious smile, clearly enjoying the spectacle. But he's my special guest, Chu Wan said with complete seriousness. The mega landlord who bought 10 villas in one go, that's him. My brother and sister-in-law's eyes went wide with disbelief. What? He's the mega landlord? That's impossible. Zhou Wan nodded firmly. It's him. He's my landlord. I wouldn't mistake him. The entire room changed their tune. Everyone stared at me with completely different eyes. That's impossible. Zhou, you must have pulled some trick to deceive Wan. Or you're impersonating the mega landlord, my sister-in-law declared with absolute certainty. One was the ex-con she despised most. The other was the mega landlord she could only dream of meeting. She simply couldn't connect the two. I looked at her the way you'd look at a clown. Believe whatever you want. Then I turned to Chu Wan and said politely, I'm sorry for disrupting your party. You all have fun. I'll head back now. I turned to leave. My brother chased after me and blocked my path, his expression complex. Zhou, no, bro. What's going on here? Realizing the shift in my status, he'd gone back to calling me bro. He'd put away his sharp edges, and the way he looked at me, it was like he was that little kid following me around again. But I already knew the truth. He wasn't following me. He was following whoever could give him shelter and benefit. I looked at him without any expression. Don't call me bro. An ex-con like me, how could I possibly be your brother? With that, I walked past him and left. Back at my own villa, I still couldn't get any peace. My parents and brother took turns bombarding my phone with calls. I simply blocked every single one of their contacts and refused to communicate further. When they despised me, even the air around me was too dirty for them. Not a single glance or smile would they spare. Now that they knew I had money, they wouldn't leave me alone. Their true faces. I'd seen them clearly now. This kind of family, better off without them. I slept beautifully that night. Early the next morning, someone knocked on my villa door. I groggily got up and opened it, just a crack, before my parents and brother shoved it open with force. They pushed past me and flooded inside without so much as a hello. My mom's eyes lit up the second she saw the interior. Wow, this villa is huge. How? When your baby comes, they can run around however they want. You could even put a playground in the living room. My brother nodded, satisfied. Yeah, my kid's going to be rich second generation. My sister-in-law wandered around examining everything, squealing with excitement. This is amazing. I'm going to be a rich lady living in a villa. How? I want a dedicated walk-in closet for all my clothes and bags, and a private sauna room. I'll do sauna sessions and skincare whenever I'm bored. Anything you want, it's all yours, my brother agreed instantly. Then my dad turned to me and, in the most natural, commanding tone, said, Zhou, set up a tea room in the courtyard. I'll bring my old buddies over for tea when I'm free. Every single one of them was acting like this was already their villa. So casually, so Li Suo Dang ran. So entitled. I'd been half asleep when they barged in. Now I was wide awake. I didn't hesitate. This is my house, not the place for your daydreams. The four of them immediately glared at me, clearly displeased. My dad spoke first. Zhou, we already know. While you were in prison, you saved a rich man and got 100 million as a thank you. Just give us half of that money. Also, you bought 10 villas, right? Give your mother and me one, and give your brother and his wife one. He said it so matter-of-factly, as if he was making some enormous concession by not asking for everything. They'd clearly come prepared. I didn't bother being polite. My money and my villas, what do they have to do with you? My mom planted her hands on her hips, furious. How can you be so ungrateful? Don't forget, the reason you went to prison was because of us. If it weren't for us, would you have had the chance to save that rich heir? Would you have gotten that 100 million? We're not even asking you to hand over all of it. That's already the biggest concession parents can make. And you want to keep it all to yourself? Have you no shame? I was so stunned I was speechless. When I was in prison for 5 years, being bullied, starving, freezing, suffering through hell, they never came to see me once. Now that they know I'm rich, they show up immediately to claim credit and have the nerve to call me shameless. I came home from prison carrying 100 million and I didn't even bring up the money.